Hello and a warm welcome to Federal Special Program Capital Beat. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi today said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi cannot state that US President Donald Trump is lying about his role in bringing about a ceasefire between India and Pakistan, as if he does so, the American leader will lay bare the truth. Then, after that, Rahul Gandhi, in fact, doubled down on Prime Minister Modi, and after which Priyanka Gandhi also said that Prime Minister Modi should state clearly in Parliament that US President is lying. And this has happened after Donald Trump said it for the 30th time that he brokered the peace deal between India and Pakistan. And he also went to the extent of talking about 25% tariff on India. Now, the remarks by the Gandhi siblings came after Trump repeated his claim about playing a role in bringing about a ceasefire between India and Pakistan. And earlier, in fact, if you look at what Mallikarjun Kharge, he also said that Prime Minister doesn't have the guts to tell Trump that he is lying. And he went to the extent of saying that dal mein kuch kala hai, there's something fishy. And he said that our policy has been that we have never accepted any sort of mediation by a third party in negotiations. And it is unacceptable to us even today. Why did they agree? What were the reasons? They should tell the country. So, is the pressure now mounting on Prime Minister Modi to talk clearly about how the ceasefire happened? And supposing he doesn't, does Donald Trump's assertions, repeated assertions on ceasefire and tariffs, make Prime Minister Modi look like a weak prime minister? And that brings us to the big question, that is the love of Prime Minister Modi for Donald Trump one-sided? Joining me this evening is senior journalist and political commentator Javed Ansari. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. We have Professor Mohsin Raza Khan, international affairs expert from Jindal University. Thank you so much, Mohsin, for joining. And I'll begin with Javed. Javed, what would you really say to the repeated assertions by Donald Trump, coming as it does for the 30th time? And he very well knew that there was a 2 days discussion in Parliament. It would be foolhardy to think that Donald Trump didn't know about this discussion happening in Parliament. And it seems like a deliberate statement he made again on the ceasefire. How would you see this statement coming from Donald Trump? And what does it do? And what does it do actually to Prime Minister Modi's image now?
Look, yeah, Mr. Donald Trump has assumed for himself the role of a principal PRO of the Pakistani army and the Pakistani nation. He is the chief spokesperson of Pakistan, and this is the third. You just counted 30th time, and this is certainly not the last time. We will probably hear him for another 30 times until the government of India comes out and categorically states in no uncertain terms that what Mr. Trump is saying is not the truth. I know that in international fora you can't use words as lying and stuff like that, but certainly you can, there are ways of saying it. The Prime Minister can say that this is not the truth or this is not how it happened, and then tell us they are talking, they are hiding behind technicalities, that no conversation happened, and that the conversation that happened was between J.D. Vance and Prime Minister, and that was J.D. Vance was warning him that on the 9th May there will be a huge attack, etc., etc. We are not talking of telephone calls. Pressures can be exerted. There are ways and means of exerting pressure or getting your word through, and the world will continue to believe that that was the case unless and until the Prime Minister of India categorically states that what is being claimed by Mr. Donald Trump is not the truth.
No, but Javed sir, is the opposition really over expecting from the Prime Minister? Because even everybody knows that one state head would not call the other state head a liar in black and white, as what Rahul Gandhi or the opposition leaders are expecting. They are repeatedly asking to come clean on how the ceasefire has happened. But all said and done, if you look at Prime Minister Modi's speech of yesterday, he did say that there was no foreign intervention throughout the military operation and no country pressured India to stop the military operation. So without taking Donald Trump's name, did Prime Minister Modi not say what the opposition really expected him to say?
Well, what Prime Minister Modi said clearly fell short of what was expected from him. The nation expects its Prime Minister to speak the truth and nothing but the truth. And the truth you can't obfuscate, you can't hide behind technicalities. I said in my opening statement that obviously terms like he's lying or liar, etc., cannot be used, but there are other ways of saying it. And the Prime Minister fell far short of expectations.
You were saying that Prime Minister fell short of far from expectations. Mohsin, coming to you now. Donald Trump saying it for the 30th time. Jairam Ramesh, Pawan Khera, several people have tweeted it. Then Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi responding to that, saying that Prime Minister should come clean, he should lay bare the truth. How difficult is it for Prime Minister Modi to really put out the truth as far as the ceasefire has? The real story behind the ceasefire. Why is it so difficult for Prime Minister Modi to say that?
Because Prime Minister Modi knows that Donald Trump will not. He knows that Donald Trump is going to be very aggressive. He's contradicted publicly. My feeling is that Donald Trump will keep doing this.
I think there's a signal problem over there. He's got disconnected. But Javed, coming back to you with that same question, that opposition now basically is trying to put Prime Minister Modi on the mat behind this question. But have they really succeeded in projecting Prime Minister Modi as a weak Prime Minister? The same thing what they said earlier about the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Is now opposition doing the same with Prime Minister Modi, making him look weak, despite the image of Prime Minister Modi with a 56 inches chest and a strong muscle man, the Vishnu Guru? And is that image really now punctured badly by the opposition?
Well, there's a concerted attempt, and that self-created image, I underline the word, that was an image that was created by Mr. Modi and his political handlers and his political image managers. You know, the easiest thing in the world is to be a legend in your own mind, to pat your own back. Who gave him the title of Vish Guru? It's Prime Minister Modi who started talking about it. Nobody has acclaimed you as the Vish Guru, but we have started. We would have the world believe that we are an economic superpower. We would have the world believe that we have now arrived at the high table. We fly 1100, thousands of miles across oceans to the G8 summit or G7 summit. We are a guest speaker. We make a 25-minute speech and come back, and yet we've arrived on the high table. So that self-created image now has taken a hit, has taken a dent. Until such time that Prime Minister Modi cannot and does not come clean and make a categorical statement, the opposition is well within its rights. The real test, of course, will come on the trade deal, because America is hounding us, America is pressurizing us. They want a trade deal on the lines of which they've managed to cut the deal with Indonesia, which is free access to their core sectors. They want free access to our pharma sector, to our farm sector, and steel. So what will be left of our economy? And they're threatening us that if we don't agree, 25% tariffs as it is. So this is all a part of that concerted attempt. And if Prime Minister Modi, it isn't just this question of whether or not Mr. Trump intervened. It's also the question of how Prime Minister will stand up to this pressure on trade deal. And if he doesn't, then that 56 inch, now this dent will become a huge hole then.
No, but does it put Prime Minister Modi in a pitiable spot now, coming as it does on the eve of Bihar elections? Now the dates will be announced. Do you think that this narrative around the ceasefire could become a dominant issue in Bihar elections? Because many people and many ground reporters in Bihar already said that people in the rural hinterlands of Bihar also are questioning as to why a 56 inches Prime Minister buckled down before Donald Trump. So could this become a big issue for Bihar elections?
Well, everything will depend on how the opposition plays this. If there's a concerted attempt, synchronized attempt, if all of them talk of this and highlight issues, and already Operation Sindoor is not that grand a success in the minds of the people as the ruling party would have us believe. Why is it that the ruling party had to take back its attempts, take back its program of distributing sindoor to women in our villages? Because there was a huge pushback. People didn't like that idea. So therefore, it's one thing to give yourself 10 out of 10 marks, but it's quite another on what people are thinking, and people of Bihar will respond accordingly. It depends on how the opposition plays this, and what Mr. Modi will pitch this as a great victory for India's armed forces. Nobody's questioning the valor or the courage or the professionalism of India's armed forces. What people are questioning is the political and diplomatic mishandling of this whole affair.
Right. Mohsin, I'll come to you with that question, which we are asking on our program, that is Prime Minister's love for Donald Trump completely one-sided? The big chest thumping that he's my dear dear friend, my dear friend Donald Trump. Now that idea of the great friendship between Donald Trump and Modi seems to have completely fallen apart, and people can see through that this love was just one-sided. Donald Trump was just trying to be very, very transactional, whereas Modi was trying to tell the world that, look, we have a great friendship. Yes, Mohsin.
My fear is bigger than this. Nilu, Trump will keep repeating this maybe 100 times more over the coming year or two. But the bigger problem that we are going to face now is that the trade negotiations that are happening are not going anywhere. And Trump and the US are insistent on reducing our tariffs to zero, especially on agricultural products. Now, this looks like we will not have a deal on August 1st. And Trump has promised to impose huge tariffs on anyone who doesn't have a deal by August 1st. Either India is going to face large tariffs, or we are going to have to surrender in front of Trump. And this will be up to the people and the opposition how they take this surrender of India, because it will mean surrendering our economic autonomy, both on pharmaceuticals, on agricultural products, which are heavily subsidized in the US. So we are going to have a flood of US manufacturers and agricultural products, etc., arriving in India. How are we going to deal with this? This is going to be a big issue. Trump keeps calling us tariff kings even from his first term. So even recently we saw this bite he gave yesterday in which he said that, yeah, we have not arrived at a deal with India, and India could end up with large tariffs. I mean, even after a deal, Europe is ending up with tariffs of 15%. So without a deal, we'll be with tariffs of 20-25%, as the New York Times is reporting.
No, but Mohsin, we still do not know as to what are the contours of the trade deal. We do not know the final shape. But what increasingly looks like a situation, does it seem that Donald Trump is using this ceasefire pitch as a bargaining chip, so that he can put India under pressure more and more? The more he talks about the ceasefire, the more India or Prime Minister Modi would buckle down. Is he using it as a bargaining chip?
This is a very good point, Nilu. This is a very good point, because we don't know what's going on behind the doors. Trump repeating this again and again may not be as innocent as it seems. Outwardly, it seems like he's aiming for a Nobel Peace Prize, but the two negotiations may be connected. Repeating this claim again and again could be putting India under pressure to agree to a trade deal, or vice versa. If India agrees to this Nobel Peace Prize peacemaking mediation, then Trump might give India better terms on the trade deal. It could be this way or that way. We are not sure which way the deal is happening, whether the deal is that India will agree, like Pakistan, to propose Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize by agreeing to the lies or truth that he's saying. We don't know whether he's saying the lies or whether he's saying truth. Then he thought,
for a Nobel Peace Prize, it puts India on par with Pakistan. Will Prime Minister Modi agree to that? Is it not a very tricky situation for India now, whether they agree or they don't? Pakistan still seems to be walking away with that advantage.
Absolutely right, Neelu. We are Prime Minister Modi is caught in a catch-22 situation. It's like between the devil and deep sea. Because if he agrees to what Trump is saying, then we are equal to Pakistan and we are subservient to the United States. We agree to peace when they want. We agree to their trade blackmailing, etc. And if he doesn't agree, then we end up with big tariffs, which will really hurt us because we have a trade surplus with the United States. So that will really hurt us. And if we or if we compromise there, then we end up with huge imports from the US. Especially our farmers cannot take those agricultural imports because US really subsidizes its farmers with huge, and it's an it does it on an industrial scale. Agricultural subsidies produce huge agricultural surpluses at very cheap rates, especially for certain products like corn, soya, etc. So we could end up with huge imports, which will really hurt our farmers. And our pharmaceuticals, etc., drug industry. So we are in a catch-22. And August 1st, we'll see.
This situation, actually, if you look at it politically, strategically, and also diplomatically, it suffocates Prime Minister Modi and the country to a certain extent. So what is the way out now for Prime Minister Modi? How can he get out of this mess? Because Donald Trump will continue. And as you said, he might say this 100 times and yet not, we might not get answers. So there will come a time where Prime Minister Modi will be forced to speak the truth. Will that happen?
I have a feeling he's not going to speak the truth because he's not spoken the truth on China. China is occupying thousands of square kilometers of our territory. He keeps saying nobody came, nobody occupied. So I doubt he's going to say, when there's a powerful country involved, he usually doesn't say anything. He usually targets small countries like Bangladesh and Maldives, etc., Nepal, with whom he did a blockade, etc. They have not forgotten that insult either. So my feeling is he's not going to tell the truth. But the problem is that you're still caught in a catch-22 situation because one way or the other, we have to, Mr. Modi has to agree to the US, either on trade or on this. There's a kind of surrender involved. It's up to the public, the voters and the opposition, how they take this and how they utilize it. Because it will really bring India down from its old days of, non-alignment and independent foreign policy, etc. We are going to seem very subservient. We are already looking subservient to China. We'll start looking subservient to the United States as well. It'll be a colossal foreign policy and trade mishap for us. It'll be a self-goal kind of. So after our mishaps in Bangladesh, Maldives, Pakistan, and Nepal, we're headed for another self-goal here. So I don't know. I'm a bit worried actually because India is also heading for an economic slowdown. You can see in the data, especially in the default data for personal loans and credit cards, that we are increasingly defaulting. So I have a feeling we could end up with a recession and a bad trade agreement, which could combine, push us into a recession.
Right. No, but Javed, coming to you, politically speaking, it looks like a very untenable kind of a situation for Prime Minister Modi. Strategically, he looks weak. Politically, he looks weak. Then diplomatically also, we've always been saying that foreign policy somewhere has failed, and continuously throughout the 2 days of discussion on Operation Sindoor, and it's still underway in Rajya Sabha, continuously all the leaders are speaking about the big foreign policy failure, which Prime Minister Modi and S. Jaishankar are not ready to acknowledge. And they have their own explanations. They lace it up with all stories around Nehru, then Sardar Patel, Sonia Gandhi, which they did like yesterday. But is BJP not realizing what is happening to the image of Prime Minister Modi? Is Prime Minister not waking up to this reality, how Donald Trump is continuously trying to damage Prime Minister Modi? So what is the damage control from here on, what BJP might think or what Modi might think of?
When you're in power, you live in an echo chamber. You hear and listen to things that you want. Mr. Gujral, former Prime Minister, once told me, he says, when you are in power, when you're in Prime Minister, when you're sitting on Racecourse Road, you sometimes forget that it even rains. So this is the kind of insulated life that these people...
I have to just interrupt you. There's a big breaking story. I don't know the details yet, but Trump has just announced 25% tariff on India. which is going to be effective from August 1st. That's a huge thing. I'll try and call out more details about this story. But your first reaction, Javed, and then I'll come to Mohsin on this. Trump has just announced 25% tariff on India effective from 1st August. There's hardly any time now. Yes.
It's bad news. It is bad news. And what it just confirms what Professor Sam was saying, that if it's, and this is just the beginning, if I'm not wrong. So if 25% now, and if we can't strike a trade deal, it could be even higher. The Indian tactic, from what I learn, is to try and drag this process on for as long as possible. Hope that the midterm elections next November, Mr. Trump suffers a reverse, and that has some kind of a sobering effect, and then he, steps back from this bullying tactics of it. But November is a long way from now, and if what you're saying is true, which I have no reason to believe it is not, then this is really bad news for us.
Okay, so I'll share some more details which are trickling in, that with just a day left for the August 1st deadline set by Donald Trump administration to wrap up agreements with its trading partners. The American president has announced 25% tariffs plus a penalty for India. I'm repeating this, 25% tariff plus a penalty for India. In a post on his platform, Truth Social, which I've not seen, of course, but there are stories now coming across on all the news websites, Trump said that India's own protectionist policies over the years had meant America had done relatively little business with them. Also, they have also bought a vast majority of their military equipment from Russia and are Russia's largest buyer of energy, along with China, at a time when everyone wants Russia to stop the killing in Ukraine. All things not good, quote unquote. So basically, it's the pain, the Russia pain. Mohsin, your thoughts on what Donald Trump has written? I'm going to repeat on the bit of what he has written on China, that also India has bought a vast majority of their military equipment from Russia and are Russia's largest buyer of energy, along with China, at a time when everyone wants Russia to stop the killing in Ukraine. All things not good, Mohsin. So it's very clear now that Donald Trump has not liked this bit of India doing business with Russia. Yes, Mohsin.
India is in deep trouble. All our, chickens are coming home to roost. The unethical policy that we followed of, whitewashing Russia's oil is coming home. He's using that also he's really piling on the pressure. He's using that. And because now he's not happy with Russia because they're not agreeing to peace in Ukraine, he's piling pressure on us to stop buying Russian oil as well. He's also piling on the pressure to sell American weapons, which will fix the trade deficits. He's piling on the pressure on trade. 25% is terrible tariffs on Indian goods. Indian goods used to have an average tariff rate of around 2-3% only. So this will be really bad for us. And it will, and on top of that, if there is a penalty, it will make us exorbitantly expensive compared to our rivals, Vietnam, China, and even compared to Indonesia, who have struck deals with the US. China has not struck a final deal, but has an interim deal, and EU has struck a deal. So many of the.
Doesn't it look like a very, very stern message coming from Donald Trump? Like yesterday, he said that, oh, my dear, Modi is a great friend, India is a great friend. And then just the next day, he says that all things not good. India will therefore be paying a tariff of 25%. Look at the last lines of the tweet, plus a penalty for the above starting on August 1st. Thank you for your attention to this matter, MAGA, that is Make America Great Again. Now, what is this kind of a reaction? It's so unpredictable.
He's nobody's friend, you see. This thing that people keep saying, the BJP supporters and Prime Minister Modi keep saying he's my great friend, and the BJP keeps saying he's my great friend. This is foolish. All the Godi media was, celebrating his election. You remember there were temples, they were praying to him, etc., for his victory. He's nobody's friend. He's only his own friend, So he's going to squeeze every last bit of blood left in the veins of any rival or any bargainer. He's a very hard bargainer. He comes from the New York real estate market, where every dollar is squeezed out. So he knows how to bargain. He's driving a hard bargain. And as I said, all our chickens are coming home to roost over the last 2-3 years. All those things where it was said that Prime Minister Modi had done, the typical term that was used was this was a brilliant stroke, and all of that is now going to come. He's piling up the pressure.
Right. So just to give a little update to the viewers on what the situation has been for months, United States and India have been discussing a trade deal for months, but no final agreement has been reached. Trump has been pressing for greater access for American goods to the Indian market. He has often made similar demands in other trade negotiations. Now, Trump had imposed a 26% tariff on Indian goods while announcing his Liberation Day tariffs in April. Now, although steep, the levy was lower than the total 104% imposed on China, 49% on Cambodia, and 46% on Vietnam. Now, this is what the tariff has been imposed on other countries. So compared to that, Mohsin, he still seems to be looking lenient with India, or is it like a very heavy?
No. Yes. He struck deals with Vietnam. He's brought them to 20% and below. He struck deals with Indonesia. He struck deals with European Union. He's brought them to 15%. He struck deals with several countries at 10%. With many countries, he struck deals with 10%.
Which means he didn't strike a deal with India. He's failed to strike a deal with India. Does that?
Yeah, he's failed to strike a deal. He's not only putting 25%, which is higher than everybody else, but a penalty. That means he's putting India even in a harsher position than China, because with China, they have not struck a final deal, but they have an interim deal. So China is still getting away with below 50% tariffs. India is going to get hit with 25 plus whatever penalty. I don't know what the penalty is going to be. So India is going to lose compared to the competitors. That's bad news, because as you must have read just yesterday, there were 12,000 layoffs at TCS, at Tata Consultancy Service. 12,000. TCS is our largest IT exporter because of AI. So AI is taking away our jobs. Now these tariffs will take away our jobs. We are in deep trouble. You can see that the yesterday's news was that 44% default rate in credit card loans. And before that, we saw similar default rate in personal loans. So we are headed for, I would say, a bad recession in which both jobs and incomes will stagnate or go down.
No, but Javed, politically, you have to understand this situation which has just arisen because of this tweet put out by Donald Trump. Has India been very, very insistent on certain things, which they were saying that they are trying to strike a deal, and Donald Trump refused, and now he's putting in penalty along with the 25% tariff? How would you make this? How will you make of this situation politically? That India tried to resist, India tried to give in, or India has failed to manage? How would you read it politically?
This is an old Indian tactic of exhausting people through negotiations. I know I've attended a few conferences where a lot of international diplomat people from other countries say that Indians are very tough bargainers, and they will they will fight for every blade of grass. So we tend to we go on and on and on in the hope that people will give in. But obviously, Trump is this is a war of nerves. This was a war of nerves between two businessmen. Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah come from Gujarat. It's known for its business acumen. They see everything through the prism of business, of doing a deal. And Mr. Trump, as like Professor Saab said, he's a quintessential, he's a born again.
This is not going to work with Trump, because Trump does not negotiate too long. As we saw with Iran, he lost his cool within 2 months. So he's not going to negotiate long with India.
And the best part is we need to watch what Prime Minister Modi will have to say in a few. Now, when he replies to the debate and when he intervenes, unless he decides not to intervene, he has to intervene in the debate in Rajya Sabha.
I heard on one of the TV channels, I don't remember, that apparently Prime Minister will stay away from replying in Rajya Sabha. That's what it was in the afternoon. I read it somewhere.
So you have it.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Mr. Rajnath Singh will have to reply.
Yeah.
For how long are you going to run away? The defense minister will have to reply. Somebody will have to answer this question. And you can take it from me tomorrow onwards.
But why not Commerce Minister, who went to America, was trying to strike deals? What happened to
Commerce Minister and all? This debate is on Sindoor, no? So it comes under the purview of the Ministry of Defense. Even in the Lok Sabha, the Prime Minister intervened, but Rajnath Singh will So it's the defense minister.
Okay, so 25% tariff, again, just giving a little lowdown to the viewers, 25% tariff plus the penalty because of association with Russia and on India's investment in energy along with China. So, Mohsin, how is it going to affect India in terms of the price rise, the prices of petrol, gas, rare earth minerals? How is it all going to shape up now? And you did point out about the rising inflation. Is it going to get worse economically for the common man in India?
Definitely is going to get worse. Not only that, but unlike, say, Nepal, which has shifted largely to electric vehicles and has built a large number of small hydroelectric projects, we have done nothing. Even though into 2024, Mr. Gadkari promised that he will remove the excise on electric vehicles. He has not done that. The taxes. We need to shift quickly to electric vehicles, reduce our oil and gas imports. Government has done nothing for that. It has been comfortably eating the taxes on oil and gas imports because the government gets a huge amount of its revenue from oil and gas. So they're not interested. We are going to be in trouble because not only we'll have trouble importing Russian oil, but Russia will find it difficult to sell its oil anywhere in the world. If Russia is not able to supply to the world market, total oil market in the world is fungible. Total supply of oil and demand for oil is fungible. That is, total supply matters and total demand matters. If the total supply goes down, that is, Russia goes down, automatically oil price will go up. We're going to be in trouble. Price of everything is connected to oil. The common man is going to suffer. So we are headed for some real trouble here now. And I think the government is in trouble. And even midterm elections won't save the government because the midterm election November is not this November, it's next November, 2026 November. So even if hypothetically Trump will lose some votes, it will only be in November 2026. Right now, he's a raging bull because he has both the Senate and the House, and he has his own presidency for the next 1.5 years.
So basically, Trump has consolidated his position. He's made America feel great. That's what he has put it out on the Truth Social as well. Javed, it's bad news for Modi and for India. How would you sum it up towards the end of the program? The situation coming up as announcing 25% tariffs plus the penalty. And anyways, Prime Minister Modi was made to look so weak because there were no answers on the ceasefire. There was no answer to what was the reality, why the peace deal was brokered. And here there is another bombshell, the tariff bomb. Yes, Javed.
This is certainly a very unfriendly act. Coming from my friend Donald, it will hurt very badly. And it's bad news for India. 25% plus tariffs, I don't know how much of a penalty. So what the figure will be, I don't have an idea, but certainly. So this is bad news. This is not how friends are supposed to act. And it comes at a very inopportune time. Prime Minister Modi has to face Parliament. If he doesn't, then people will say that 56 has been reduced to 36 and he's run away.
Well, good luck to Prime Minister Modi, how he's going to face the situation. But the biggest takeaway of this love story between Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi is that don't invest too much into people who don't bother for you. And clearly, Donald Trump has sent out that message. He doesn't care for Prime Minister Modi. He didn't care for India, despite all the claims made by Prime Minister Modi that Donald Trump is my dear Donald Trump. So that's the biggest takeaway. Don't invest in people who are not bothered for you. That's the biggest takeaway. But the troubles mount from here on for India. Economically, people will have to face the rising inflation, price rise. But diplomatically, how is India really going to tackle this situation? And vis-a-vis Pakistan, China, don't forget them, how they will be watching this situation very, very closely. We'll have to end it here. Thank you so much, Javed sir, Professor Mohsin. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you.